Good morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
Critical race theory has been a hot political topic across the country, and it's an issue being raised in the race for South Dakota governor. CRT is a legal theory used by scholars to analyze laws and policies to determine whether they are influenced by social biases such as racism.
Democratic gubernatorial candidate Jamie Smith says a CRT is an academic non-issue because it's not taught in South Dakota classrooms. But Governor Kristi Noem, who's running for re-election, says CRT creates inherently divisive concepts that have no place in our schools.
To make sure that in our classrooms, our students were learning true and honest history. And that's really all we want. So critical race theory divides people based on racism, and it uses Marxist theory and principles to do that. So that's where its basis comes from, and that deserves no place in any of America's classrooms, especially not here in South Dakota.
CRT is a college level or above theory that is not being taught in our schools. It's a political set of letters that make people get all stirred up because they know it must be bad.
Lawmakers passed a bill during this year's legislative session that bans state universities and colleges from requiring students to attend orientations and trainings involving so-called divisive concepts. In August of 2020, a car was discovered in a cornfield in Gregory County where the owner's dog had also been found. But Ryan Pyle seemed to vanish without a trace.
His remains were discovered months later. KELOLAND's Angela Kennecke is investigating this mystery death along the Missouri.
Authorities first believed Ryan Pyle was just another death in a rural area due to exposure, not all that uncommon in South Dakota. But there is evidence that is not the case, and more questions than answers for Ryan's family.
I want answers, and I want to know what the authorities know, and I just want some transparency, and I just want some answers, that's all. Won't bring him back, but I think something really wrong happened here.
Coming up tonight in our investigation into the mystery death along the Missouri, we look at things that don't add up in the case and new evidence that points to foul play. You won't want to miss one of my last investigations for KELOLAND News tonight at 10.
One person is dead and another hurt after a weekend crash west of Hudson. The South Dakota Department of Public Safety says it happened just after 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon. A motorcycle was westbound when it took a left turn. The driver failed to take the curve and went into the ditch.
Both the driver and passenger were thrown from the bike. The driver, a 57-year-old man, was pronounced dead at the scene. The passenger, a 59-year-old woman, suffered life-threatening injuries. She was taken to a Sioux Falls hospital. South Dakota's Highway Patrol is investigating the crash.
Now let's get a check of our forecast with meteorologist Scott Munn, starting on a cool note, but warming up quick, Scott.
Oh, that it will. Plenty of sunshine to go around. We'll go with light winds coming in this morning, 5 miles per hour or less. They may get up around 5 to 15 this afternoon. But check out the warm air. Temperatures in the 80s, a couple of lower 90s across the plains of western South Dakota, maybe south central South Dakota can hit the lower 90s today. And the warm temperatures will continue as we go through the work week. More details on that with Brian coming up.
Thank you, Scott. Over 200 people gathered in Sherman, South Dakota this weekend for the 10th annual Ride for Tayden.
The event is in honor of Tayden Groves, a young boy who died from brain cancer nearly 8 years ago. Now the ride continues not only in his name, but also as a fundraiser to help other families going through the same fight.
It's a good feeling to help. Obviously we don't like the scenario in which we have to interface with these families because it's not an easy road. It's very difficult. Nobody wants to watch their child go through that. It's tough. But as long as we can help, we want to make sure we're doing so.
The event included a poker run, food, raffle prizes, and live auction. Groves says the event raised enough money last year to give 2 families experiencing childhood cancer around $7,000 each. Area veterans are savoring memories made on Midwest Honor Flight over the weekend. The Marine Corps War Memorial was the first stop on Saturday.
Stanley Larson is a Vietnam combat veteran. He joined the Marines in 1967 when he was 19 years old. He was wounded in '68 and eventually returned to the United States, where he served 2 more years in California and Virginia. Larson says the men with whom he served were more than soldiers.
It's a brotherhood. There's basketball players that are, team members and that, but something about in the service, like what we went through, it just makes you closer and tighter, and actually they're like more family than family at times.
Larson is from Windham, Minnesota. KELOLAND's Renee Ortiz joined the veterans on their trip to Washington, D.C. She'll have more stories from the trip this week. A Sioux Falls native is celebrating national recognition in esports.
Kaya Caldwell was one of just 10 people in the nation to receive a $10,000 scholarship from Gen G Foundation to help her get started in her esports career at Dakota State University. The scholarship helps her get one step closer to a career in game design.
It's really informative to see that not only are they looking at who they currently have employed in different competitive aspects of esports, they're also looking for prospective people, prospective employees even, that are going into the field and might make an impact.
Caldwell is the first DSU student to be awarded this honor.
That is a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, weather today, tranquil, quiet. We've got warm temperatures this afternoon, more warm conditions tomorrow, although northern KELOLAND will be under the influence of this frontal boundary that slips through. Notice, though, we don't have any rain attached to that yet. Then the likely scenario is we'll actually see that front come back to the north and turn into a warm front, and it will warm up. Wednesday, we're projecting, well, at least upper 80s in Sioux Falls. I would not be surprised if we end up amping up these numbers in central South Dakota even more than we have now. We've got 90 going in Pierre, and if this continues, we'll probably end up 92, 93 in some areas of the central parts of KELOLAND. By Thursday, a frontal boundary. Important, though, that we acknowledge that this front is not in any hurry to move out of here. So once we get into Thursday, we're going to introduce a chance of scattered rain. You can see that's kind of a hodgepodge of things running from Wyoming and Nebraska into parts of South Dakota. And the pattern is kind of messy going into Friday as we linger this frontal boundary here. And that's going to be the story even into the weekend as we start to reposition the alignment of these air masses. See how we're warm here to get to the middle part of the week, that bubble right there in the midsection of the country. And then look at the weekend. See how we're still warm here in the midsection of the country. So I'm not in any hurry to bringing in cool weather yet. I think we're going to have to wait until probably after Monday or Tuesday. Now at that point, then we've got a bunch of cold air dumping into the northern Rockies. We'll see what the pattern does at that point, but just keep in mind that when we've seen that type of thing before earlier in the season, we've ended up with some severe weather. A little early to call that out, but I just wanted to mention that because usually in September, at some point, we typically have a bump in severe weather. That doesn't happen every year, but we've been pretty quiet for a long time, so I just want to get you thinking about that. 80 today, Sioux Falls, 82 in Aberdeen. We'll finish up with our 7-day. For Sioux Falls, 80-degree weather is above normal right through day 7. I would really hesitate to bring in anything cooler until after day 7. And notice we do have at least some chances of rain. It is not going to be a washout pattern. This type of alignment is typically going to feature a few clusters of showers and thunderstorms. A lot of that will probably be late day or the evening variety. But for Aberdeen and Pierre, it's the same idea. We're going to start to get some shower and thunderstorm chances to roll back into the upper plains. And you bet the Black Hills in the western part of South Dakota should also feature a few scattered showers and thunderstorms starting Thursday. Check out details with the weather online at KELOLAND.com.